Hello, I'm Michelle R. Price, the Light Worker. I also work with Spiritual Events Directory on their video series and also on Rebirth Magazine. So we are going to have a chat to someone pretty special today, someone who has contributed to the Spiritual Journal. I believe has had some involvement with Rebirth Magazine as well. And you'll also see this particular lady on Spiritual Events Directory from time to time. So Pip Coleman is who I've got here today. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so you've got wear a lot of hats from what I've seen. I've had a little bit of a look at what you do. So you've got involvement with Reiki, spiritual coaching. So you've done your Reiki masters. You're able to sort of teach that spiritual coaching as well. You're a medium. So many different things. It's like where do I start? So in a nutshell, can you sort of just put it together for us and just explain, who Pip Coleman is?
Sure. It is, yes, I'm very much a multi-faceted, I guess, in terms of my business. Mm-hmm. So my history in terms of my traditional training was all around administration and sales, and being able to talk to people was my thing. I was very good at sort of relationship building as my kind of, that was what my normal, in the normal world. And then I started traveling overseas and I worked on cruise ships in the United States. And as part of that, I was in the entertainment department. So I wanted to have some fun. I wanted to be able to travel. And so that was sort of something that I did for a while, about 6 years actually, working on cruise ships. And in that environment, I also started to do some more spiritual things because I had more time as well to sort of explore stuff. So I started to do more meditation. I started to teach meditation on board. I did some personal development, and then I started to teach that personal development on board. And so there was this shift that happened when I was working in that space. And so I came back to Australia after that 6 years. And although I was doing part-time normal stuff, I was doing more of the spiritual development side of things. So that's when I did my Reiki master training. And because I'd already done Reiki 1 many years before, but I felt like I needed a little bit more because I wanted to start doing more of that teaching side of things and the coaching. So I trained with Doreen Virtue when she was doing her advanced angel intuitive courses. And yeah, so a lot of people who are in the industry...
Parts here we go.
There you go. A lot of people who are in the spiritual community know of her. Obviously, she's been around for many years, but she doesn't do it anymore. And so it's really interesting to meet people who've actually trained with her, because she just speaks a totally different language now than she used to. So that was my sort of real introduction to spirituality and tapping into the angels in particular. So this next step that's happened is, since COVID sort of locked us all down, I've been doing lots of things online. And who'd have thought that, doing all those silly activities on a cruise ship and interviewing people every day for 6 years, but on stage with a microphone, was going to lead to now me doing that sort of thing and writing as well. I've been doing lots of writing and, launched my own book around the story of me having that spiritual experience in a non-spiritual space. So then enter Spiritual Events Directory into my environment. And that's where the Spiritual Journal, me joining that collaborative project came in, because I was working with Sarah and the team to do interviews of people on the Spiritual Events Directory and have my own show. And then she said, hey, you might like to be part of this amazing collaboration that we're doing. So it's amazing how things evolve without you having to do, we think we have to try really hard, but in actual fact, it's the bits where we don't try hard that are the things we actually need to follow, the path we need to follow. So
that's
here we are today.
That is a good quote. I love that.
Mm.
So quite a journey. A lot of it spent traveling overseas, seeing the
Yep.
world.
Mm.
Do you feel like that was, something you had to do? You kind of have to get that out of your
Yeah.
system, kind of thing, and then you can sort of settle and yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's out of my system.
Okay.
I think I still, I think I still have that gypsy, kind of element to me that I am certainly starting to think again now that I've been in Phillip Island for, about 8 years. I'm starting to go, time to kind of, get out into the world again and do some more traveling and see some more things. There's things on my bucket list that I haven't done yet. So I don't think that's ever going to leave. That travel bug is never going to be out of my system, but I certainly have times where I stop and rest, and then I have times where I'm really out there in the world doing that interactive thing. So I've just sort of feel like I'm coming to the end of a big rest period. Although somebody said to me yesterday, you seem like you're doing a lot, and I said, actually I've wound it back. This is me wound back, and so yeah, that was interesting to have that comment made. So I guess I wasn't resting. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think everyone has different degrees of, what they consider their resting phase versus, their active phase. Everyone has.
I guess I was resting my travel legs.
Yeah.
But I was doing other things. I was doing more inward work, that's where the writing comes in, and the journaling and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what we're getting into, journaling with archangels. So that's journal, that's what we're talking about, spiritual journal. So your contribution, angels, I'm guessing based on some of what I've read in the journal, that they play a big role, in your life. So can you tell us a little bit about that, the role that they play?
Yeah. So the angels sort of came in, as I say, when I did that training with Doreen, that was the advanced angel intuitive course actually gave me the basis for my interaction and communication with the angels, because prior to that I didn't have a spiritual upbringing. And so that spiritual part of my life was not even in my conversation. I grew up in a very pragmatic, practical family who didn't really talk about spirituality, although we went to a youth group when we were young. So angels in the traditional sense were not part of my conversation as I grew up. So doing this course, that course with Doreen was really interesting, because she started to talk about source energy and talk about connection with higher vibrational beings and other realms. And we talked about what it was like, past lives and things that I had sort of thought about and heard about but not really delved into until that time. So that process changed my whole way of working with the world. I started to think about how things were not coincidences anymore, that there was synchronistic coalescing of people coming together. And I started to see people coming into my space that were divinely laid. It was all laid out beautifully, and obviously there's that element of fate, that conversation about fate and destiny, and whether you have the choice, the freedom to choose. It's an interesting conversation to have, but the angels came into my space quite strongly. And so I started working with them in terms of asking them questions, asking for advice, asking for guidance, and then preserving my energy, looking after myself in terms of going into meetings or going into family functions, things like that, if I felt like I needed to preserve my energy. Once upon a time, I used to use the word protection, and that's how Doreen talked about it when she taught as well. I now have changed my mind about that since doing the Reiki training and teaching for, the last 10, well, more than that now, 15 years it's been. I find that it's really important to come from that space of love and come from that space of high vibrational energy. And talking about protecting yourself makes it seem like there's something bad or fearful that you need to protect yourself from, when in actual fact, it's really a matter of preserving your energy, making sure that you're at the highest vibrational state that you can be in. And then it won't matter what is coming at you in the world, because you'll be in that lovely centered, aligned, preserved space. So that's what I'm teaching, I guess, in the journal, is to listen to your own inner self, listen to your own soul, and practice tapping into that energy, that higher vibrational energy of the angels, to keep yourself in that preserved and aligned state, so that you don't get wobbled. You don't get wobbled by the things that come at us, like the Matrix. You can go woo.
Yeah. So good movie. So does that mean, Pip, that we don't need to, sometimes we talk about, putting on our bubble before we head into, the big wide world and expose ourselves to other people and all that sort of stuff. So would that mean we don't necessarily have to do the bubbling? We don't have to do all those things. We just kind of ask our angels for protection? Is that sort of...
I guess I still do the bubble, but in a slightly different way. So rather than thinking of it as I think it's more around the fact that I just don't think of it as a protection. I think of it as, as a high vibrational space that I'm putting myself into. So there's Kyle Gray talks about it as the cleanse, tone and moisturize process that he does, which I love, because again, it's talking about preserving you. So you're clearing your energy of anything that might be, cutting any cords of fear, and clearing anything that might have been stuck to you from other people's stuff, or, anything that's sort of, a thought process that's not serving you. So you do your cleansing first, then you tone in terms of, filling yourself up with colored light, or you practice your mantras, or you do whatever it is that you need to do in terms of, calling in the angels that can be with you for the day, for example. So you could have a couple of angels that you call in to be with you for the day. If you're doing creative things, you might call in Archangel Gabriel. If you're doing, relationship type things, you might call in, Ariel. If you're going to do something that's to do with healing, you might call in Raphael. And then you put your preservation bubble around yourself. So it's really important not to cling wrap in the fear, because a lot of people will go, I'm so scared of going out that I need to put my bubble around me, but they don't do the cleanse and tone beforehand. Yeah. And so, Kyle Gray actually coined that phrase of cling wrapping in the fear, because that's why a lot of people don't actually feel like they're very safe, even though they've got their bubble around them, because they haven't done that pre-work. Sure. So the angels can help you with that. They can give you the best possible preservation, and that's what I mean about calling in the archangels in particular, because they have specialties. And depending on your day, you can say, I'd really like a preservation bubble around myself that is, high vibrational in a healing way, or high vibrational in an abundance way, or high vibrational in a creativity way. And then the archangels that you call in to do that, to help you with that, are those particular archangels. So in the journal, we go through a process of practicing doing your prescription with each different archangel. So you get an opportunity to practice calling in that archangel, using the aura, their special aura light, and they give you that experience of feeling and sensing and seeing and knowing what that's like to work with them, so that when you do go, which archangel do I need? Oh, I think it's that one that has the green light, or I think it's that one who feels like this, or depending on what your method of communication is with your angels. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, really break it down and keep it simple. We don't have to know all the ins and outs. It's just color of the name, and
because some people will say, I don't really see anything, and that's okay. You might be a feeling person, and so you might just feel a particular way when you have an angel come in and help you, or be with you for the day. So I have a particular energy that I feel with each different archangel or guardian angel that comes in to assist me, and they feel different. You know, other people will say, oh, I always see the colors. You know, they might say, I always see the blue when this angel comes in, and I always see the green when this angel comes in. And those people obviously more visually orientated. Other people might hear, you know, they might hear the angel speaking to them, saying, you know, saying something to them. So yeah, it depends on your mode of communication as well, and everybody's different. I think that's the thing that's all interesting about this journal as a whole as well, is that not every section of this journal is going to resonate with every person, but you've got an opportunity to go through and try different ways of journaling, and you might find that one is amazing and some are okay and some you really doesn't resonate with you at all. So it's going to be really interesting to hear people's feedback when they try all the different methods. I'm looking forward to trying all the different methods myself.
Aren't we all? Yeah. And so Pip, you've got that book you mentioned as well. How do we purchase that? Is there anything?
Finding My Soul at Sea, that is the book that I wrote. Yeah. It's available through my website, pipcoleman.com, and also through the publisher's website, which is oceanreevepublishing.com, and Amazon, Booktopia, and the local bookshop on Phillip Island has some as well. So turn the page, yay! So yeah, we haven't been able to, I only just launched it in November last year, so we haven't been able to get out and do any more, you know, connecting with people, being in Victoria. So it's available online though, which is great.
Good.
So yeah,
big tick for that. I think everyone's in the same boat. Yes. Well, Pip, that was wonderful. It's so great to hear about your travels, and I think what I really get from, you know, what you're saying is that we just want to keep it simple. It doesn't have to be really difficult, and the easier we can make it, I think the more likely we are inclined to do the cleansing, toning and protecting, and, you know, journaling and talking to our angels and calling them in. And I think it's good to have people like yourself around, because a lot of the time I think people want to do it, but they don't know like how to do it, and they don't realize you can just kind of ask the questions. So I think that your journal contribution is going to be really helpful in that respect, just to show people like it doesn't have to be that hard.
Right. Yeah, I think sometimes people do get a bit caught up in the, you know, the angels. There's a bit of self-worth that comes up there as well, that sort of worthiness conversation around, oh, the angels don't want to help me. Like, there's too many people in the world who need it more than I do, but they don't really understand that angels and archangels can be anywhere at any time. They're multidimensional beings. So, and they're non-denominational as well. So you don't have to be religious to connect with an angel. The angels can come and help you if you ask them. It's about that, like you say, it's about asking, and then that answer will come through. So yeah, I'm teaching a guardian angel course at the moment, online. For the first time we're doing online instead of face-to-face. So it's really interesting to talk to them about the way that the angels connect with us, and how they give us signs that they're answering our questions and things like that. So delving into it even more than the journal, you know, it can offer. But yeah, it's a starting point. That's what I think this journal is for everybody, is a starting point of each of the different ways of journaling, so that you can, it's like a buffet.
Yeah.
It's a taste
you
test,
don't like
you know.
We're not necessarily going to be drawn to, you know, particular items,
right? Yeah,
and that's fine. Everyone's different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look forward to hearing people's feedback.
Yeah. I love that. Love that.
It'll be
Pip Coleman, that has been a delight. We can't wait to be able to see your journal contribution, to be able to taste all the different delicacies that are on offer there. And it's so great to have you involved with Spiritual Events Directory, and to be able to see, you know, you pop up from time to time, and you know, with your own teaching and everything you've got going on as well, coming out of your rest period.
That's right.
into the busy period. So for all of the viewers, people who are watching this video with Pip and myself, if you want to be involved with Spiritual Events Directory yourself, you can definitely get involved. You can send us an email at rebirth at spiritualeventsdirectory.com. I just had to check my notes. And you can also reach out on our page and send us a message that way as well if you'd like to be involved with advertising, if you'd like to contribute an article to Rebirth magazine, which is a lot of fun. And you may be speaking to me if you do decide to do that. So thank you so much, Pip. It's been a delight. And
Thank you.
best of luck with all of your amazing work that you're doing, and good luck with your book as well.
Yeah, thanks.